to go live. All right, perfect. Okay, now we made it. We're live on Facebook. Okay, so like I was just saying, if you watch this on the replay or know somebody that wants to watch this on the replay, under topics here in Rockin Wellness, so usually to the far right, if you've never used topics, just scroll. It's called training replays. However, I might make one that's just called Connect Zoom. So just look for one of the two. It'll be easy to find, and that way they'll just be tagged. And if you're looking for something or if you need to catch up in the week, boom, it's there. It's easy. Okay. Nice to have some more people hopping on. If you're watching a replay later, let us know. We want to hear from you in the comments. That's awesome. And I'm just going to open up my comments and then we're going to get going. Last chapter, guys. This is the last chapter of this book. Have you enjoyed it so far? I'm going to need you. Go ahead, unmute, talk to me for a couple minutes. Okay.
It was wonderful. It was great. I too, along Julie said, she underlined everything too. I did too. And I think I even highlighted with a highlighter a couple of them because I was like, yeah. I'm all asking my family, what do you think? What do you think? It's driving people nuts.
Yeah, do you like me for last week? Do you like me? Do you even like me? That was resonating right with me this week when we talked about leadership last week, where, you know, he asked the question, right? People need to feel like they're liked, that their leader likes them. So that definitely stood out. Anything else specific to, you know, any chapter or how you've been feeling?
I think this whole book has just been wonderful. And I think it's a resource that you can, I like that every chapter is a standalone chapter so that you can pick it up and at any time and just give yourself a little refresher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree. It's a good culmination of a lot of his books. There's little bits and pieces of different things, right? And he tags the different books that you could go up to read at the end of each chapter too, which is kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. I like that too, what you said, Maxine. And have you guys noticed with John Maxwell's books in general, almost all of them are actually standalone chapters. And I feel like he does that strategically because oftentimes, how many times do you go back to a book where you have to like flip through the pages and try to find the spot, like, where did I read that again? But if you kind of know what stood out in John's books, you literally can go to the index and be like, boom, there it is. And you can go straight to it. So I feel like people gain a lot more value out of his work because of that. I know that his books are the ones I would actually keep on my bookshelf to grab. And, you know, I grabbed the leadership one the other day in that 5 levels. I'm like, oh, there was something I wanted to look up. I knew right where to go. So I love that about John. It's a little harder sometimes when they don't have those segments, but yeah, he's just so fantastic. And you know, we're going to touch on this here in the chapter significance. This is power number 5, significance. And what has been standing out to me in this book is that he's repeated several times, there were people in this industry that encouraged me to write this book. Now, we know many Diamond and Jewel Plexus ambassadors that work closely with John because they are certified John Maxwell coaches. So you can be darn tootin' for sure that, you know, people like Sarah Marble, Sonia Dudley, you know, all these amazing, incredible people that we look up to have had a hand in helping him write this, which is so cool. So he's been like the voice and guaranteed he's gone to them, right, for input on the industry itself. So I love that. And I like that about John. He's always very open like that to work together. So ready? This is a very, very good one. If you like writing, this is going to be for you. You might have to watch the replay. So significance and success are 2 words that get tossed around a lot. And I mean, he just goes right into it at the beginning. And like I said, bear with me. I'm going to read a lot of what they say in here because there's just no point in trying to reinvent the wheel. But he says almost everyone starts out chasing success. Many experiences shift towards significance along the way. So right there, he's saying success and significance are actually 2 very different things. Success is mainly about myself. And he lists a few of the my's. And I circled every my to make that stand out to me even more, right? It's about my career, my agenda, my possessions, my desires, me, 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 me. But significance is always about there. And so when we're thinking there, we're clearly thinking about our team, right? Those looking to us, those are under us. So it's about their dreams, their needs, their potential, you know, their families, their goals, their desires, their passions, and you can continue that on. So there's a real difference. And I don't know, to be honest, that I've really sat back and thought about that ever. I don't know that I've really ever separated the two words, but after this chapter, they're like black and white to me now. They're actually really, really different. And so he says he's met many unfulfilled, successful people. Who here knows someone that to the world would seem very successful, but they're not a super happy person? They're actually really unfulfilled, right? We've all known businessmen or women who you're like, what, like who peed in your Cheerios this morning, right? They're not fulfilled. There's not a joy level, right? We all know them, right? We can just like, and then we know an equal amount or more though that are fulfilled. So you can have both, right? But he says, but everyone I know living a life of significance is fulfilled. So I actually think it's a heart issue, right? It's a mindset heart issue. Money doesn't bring joy, right? You think, oh, as soon as I get that, I don't know, what's an example? I had to get an impulse wash machine. I say, oh, my problems will be solved. I'll be so happy once I have this washing machine. Maybe for 48 hours, right? And then something else will be annoying, or you'll go back to, because nothing to do with significance and how you feel as a person, and how you feel as a person, and how you go to bed at night feeling like you impacted someone is actually what determines your level of joy. Does that make sense, or is that resonating? Yeah. So, okay. So he says it's a regular practice for him. He's going to start teaching us, right? How do we have significance? It's a regular practice for him to show up to, a table. So it could be a coffee date, it could be a meal. And you'll notice he always emphasizes getting together with people. Now we're in a really weird situation in life right now, right? So there is an element to your table might be a Zoom screen, but the principle stays the same. And he says he shows up and he starts asking questions. Right? Not about himself. And he actually asks a really loaded question. It's not like just chitter chatter. He says one of the questions that he asks is, what is your best thought on how to live a fulfilled life? Can you imagine sitting down? I'd feel like if you put your head up and look at me for a sec, I'd be like, oof. I'd feel like someone just nailed me to the chair, because that's actually really, would you be able to answer that today? Right? You guys can talk in the comments, or if you're watching the replay, would you be able to answer that if someone sat you down for coffee and asked you? That's a really big question, and one that, in our quiet times is something we should probably be thinking about. So he'll ask them that, and he says over and over, I hear something along the lines of, I intentionally add value to people, right? I hear all the time, I want to help others. I want to help someone else, right? So same thing. Now, what happens is he says that's the essence of significance, wanting to add value, wanting to help somebody else. It can be in a parental relationship, it can be in your business, in your marriage, in your workplace, it can be wherever. And he says he received a book, from a friend. What was her name in here? Her name was Eileen. And the front of the book said the greatest story ever told. So naturally, I love covers of books, and I totally buy them based on the cover. I know that that's like opposite of what my mom told me. But he said he was so excited to read it. And then he opens it up and the pages are all blank. Imagine the disappointment. Imagine the disappointment of opening up this book. You're so excited, it's all blank. And she had left a note in there telling him basically, this is a story that you get to write. You get to write the greatest story ever told, basically. And he said it actually fired like an excitement in him, an enthusiasm to like, oh my goodness, right? I can go out and I can be significant. And, naturally that is a bit of his personality. But he said it made me think about how I was the author of my life and I could fill every page with whatever I wanted. And that is something that I try to instill in my own kids every single day. I have a child that wants to be an astronaut, totally came out of the blue. I'm like, if you want to be an astronaut, girl, then you work to be an astronaut. And if you fall a little bit short, you can work at mission control, but don't worry about what people say, just go for it, right? Now, someone else might be like, what are the chances of that? So it really matters how we present ourselves in terms of that. So he said it really inspired him that he could make his life matter. And honestly, I think that's all that we want. We want to make our life matter. There's tons of like retreats and getaways and self-help books on how do I find myself? Like I want to find myself. And I'm always like, what are you looking for? It's in your heart already. Like, God created you with those, whatever you are passionate about and whatever you desire, that's part of what you were created to do and what purpose you were meant to have. Because remember the story at 15 where I desired to drive a semi and I lived on an asphalt farm. My parents were in corporate America. You guys remember me telling that story? And my dad literally ridiculed me, my stepdad, because he's thinking I'm going to be in some high-rise office somewhere carrying a briefcase and I'm telling him I want to drive a semi, right? I'm now married to a farmer. I drive big equipment. Clearly that had something to do, even though it didn't make sense. So what is in you? Like, what do you love doing and what do you always go back to? Because if you're looking for your purpose, it has something to do with that. I'm going to tell you something. You guys at one point have all said, I want to help others. Guess what? You're in Plexus for a reason. You have something to offer them, right? Something that everybody's talking about. Everyone's looking for health. If they don't have health, they really don't have anything. Right? If you don't have your mental health and your physical health. So anyway, so significant. So 4 steps that he took on his journey to significance, and we're gonna work them apart here. Okay, so number 1 is I want to make a difference. Number 2, do something. Okay, right away, so we move into action. So there's a difference between want to and doing. Number 3 is with people who also want to make a difference. That matters big time. Did you guys know that you get to choose who you allow in your circle? Now there's some we have to humor, right? In-laws, just joking, but you know what I mean, okay? But you get to choose who you spend your most precious time with. Now, if you have 2 camps of people in your life, and you have camp number 1 right here on Connect Zoom, and these are women who have the same passions as you and they're cheerleading you. You guys are all, right? You're on the same path. You have many of the same desires. You're cheerleading each other. Would you choose that on a Saturday morning? Or would you choose to go have coffee with 3 friends who all they do is gossip and they're negative and they have like total poverty mindset? Yeah, Connect Zoom. Okay. Right? We get to choose. And I think that's the problem is that oftentimes you have to come to the place where you're like, hey, I actually have a choice here. Like when someone writes like a comment on your Facebook wall or something, did you know that that's your wall? There's a little delete button. You don't have to, delete it, right? It's your space. It's your space. Now be open, of course, to differing opinions, but you know where I'm going, right? With this, you get to choose who you are around. Okay, number 1, I want to make a difference. So John says, okay, all my life, I wanted to make a difference to other people. I bet right now as you read the words, I want my life to make a difference. That's resonating with you. Am I right? Is John right? Okay. I feel like that is just a natural to every single person. Okay, I want to make a difference. I want to be a difference maker. That's like, yep, definitely. Okay, he says, my father loved people and continually added value to them. Now, what he says is that he was a leader. He walked slowly through the crowd. He was encouraging, and people were drawn to him. You remember me saying a few times if you've been on weekly. So my mom's partner, Duncan, who's like a really large businessman, but yet so soft and kind. In a conversation, I'm like, he's actually a John Maxwell. And this is what makes him a good leader. Because if we're talking, which we were the other day, he'll never say, oh, no, that's not how it is. And that's happened many times with me where he just lets me talk and I can be passionate about certain topics, specifically what's going on right now. A couple of days later, he'll just send an email, hey, check this out. And it's just wisdom. It's just like, hey, maybe look at it from this perspective, but he'll never say, oh, no, it's this way. And I was like, that's how John would be. That's walking slowly through a crowd. And do you know what that does? He hasn't said a single thing. And here my respect for him is like climbing this ladder. That's why John has such big influence. That's how he reacts, right? That's what we learn out of his books. It's to not be the noisemaker. It's to let people come to it on their conclusion. And then now we've developed a respect. I need to practice that. I need to practice not being so vocal. Okay. So he says, making a positive difference in the lives of people creates a positive influence in our own lives. I've experienced what I call the significance boomerang. You throw it out to others, it comes back to you. Anyone experienced the boomerang? You throw out something that adds value, it typically seems to come back. Yeah, lots of nodding, good. So the difference between people, he lists here, that have high morale versus low morale. These are pretty straightforward. Okay, high morale people continually make a positive difference. Low morale people seldom do. Okay, so sometimes we see that actually as the high achiever and the underachiever, right? Because if you're out there doing things and you're putting yourself out there either emotionally or by physical acts, right? You're achieving, you have the mindset to achieve. Low morale would be like, what I do doesn't really make a difference, so what's the point? Right? Well, yeah, I can encourage them today, but it's just once. It's not really going to change their mindset, right? Do you see the difference? And then high morale people are passionate about adding value to others. Low morale people are more apathetic. So it's like, I like the idea, but it's not an active pursuit. And so the two really start to stand out. And again, there's character descriptives on what, what that can look like to people, but the kind of basis is the same. So he says, if you have a heart to make a difference, there's always an answer. And when you find it, you'll embrace it and then you'll share it with others. And that's like anything that you find that makes you feel good, you will share that, whether that was, it can be really anything. It can be anything from a product to, quiet time in the morning to exercise to a quote that someone shared. If it makes you feel good, you're going to pass it forward. So John F. Kennedy is quoted as saying, everyone has a change the world speech inside of them. There's an area, guys, that you're super passionate about, and you could stand up and be Martin Luther, mixing the two names together, Martin Luther, right? You have a Martin Luther speech on the inside of you because there's something that you're really, really passionate about. And he says this is true of you and those you're around in your network marketing company, okay? We all believe we can make a difference, but we feel a huge gap between where we are and where we could be. Does anyone know where I'm going with this? What happens with the gap? We've got two options here. Somebody tell me what you think the two options are. Where we know we can make a change and where we actually are and where we know we can make a change. What happens with this gap? There's really only two trajectories of it. Anybody know where I'm going with this?
Closes or gets bigger.
Yes. We have a choice. You either keep standing over here, think of the Grand Canyon, okay? You got a Grand Canyon between I know what I'm capable of and what I want to do, but over here is the actual doing. So in network marketing, we see this a lot, okay? There's maybe three camps, but there's really two, right? We have the people that are like, okay, yeah, whoop, we'll find a way to get over, okay? And they'll get over there. You've got people who are like, yep, no, and they hang out here. Procrastination. Okay, because they're not, they don't want to actually take the jump. And then my third camp, which I actually feel is a real camp of people, is the people that have really good intentions and they start and they're like, it feels too hard, too scary, and they drop in the middle. These are the people that you see getting to their rank, gold, senior gold. Heck, I've seen Jules do this, right? And something happens right here, and they just miss the thing, right? Something happened here. Okay, the processes didn't change. Something happened here. You hear all the time, she was a ruby. What happened? Here, here, here. Okay, it's all surrounds the head. What we're speaking, what we're thinking, what we're hearing, right? What we're surrounding ourselves in. And that's really going to impact your significance. So he says, start small, small differences over time make a big, big difference. He says you don't have to save the world, but you can make a difference where you live. I love that he says start now. Okay, consistency compounds. He says there's never a perfect time to start, so start now. Now is the only time you have. Write it down. Now is the only time you have. It's the only thing that's guaranteed is today. We often spend too much time turning around and like analyzing over yesterday. That's great to learn and grow, but if that totally keeps you blinded from actually acting today, it's like getting addicted to social media. If that holds you up to actually doing something, then social media is not helping you, right? In your business, if it's just sucking you in like a vortex. So you need to start now. So we over exaggerate yesterday, we overestimate tomorrow. That's equally dangerous. And we underestimate today. So over-exaggerate yesterday, over-exaggerate tomorrow, underestimate today. That's really, really good. Today matters. Number 2 is doing something that makes a difference. Okay, so you want to make a difference. Now I have to do something to make a difference. Our souls are not hungry for fame, comfort, wealth, or power. Those rewards create almost as much problems as they solve. Who would agree with that? The more you accumulate, the more issues you potentially have, right? Because often it's materialistic is what's happening. So he says our souls are hungry for meaning, for the sense that we have figured out how to live so our lives matter, so that the world will at least be a little bit different from our having passed through it. Right? At the end of life, what will people say about you? Right? What are they going to say about you? How did you impact them or somebody else? Because that's what they're going to be talking about. They're not going to be talking about what's parked in your driveway or what street you lived on, unless they loved you as a neighbor, right? But they're going to be talking about how you made them feel. So back to significance. So the question was not, could I make a difference? The question was, what kind of a difference can I make? And I'm on page 88, if anyone's following along. Okay, so what kind of a difference can I make? So we're going to start with one word. Okay, how do I make a difference? So you start with one word. So he says, if you think of making your life count, sit back, and you might not be able to do this on the spot. If you can, pop it in the comments and let us know. Come back here later, pop your word in. But sometimes it takes a little bit of thought, right? What's my one word that I'm going to hinge on? So John said he often says, start by writing down 5 and then kind of work through them, talk with people, ask them to evaluate what they see you as. Now, remembering everything's filtered through perception, but it just helps to get an idea. And so, might help with words. So he did this exercise. His 5 words were serve, give, share, lead, and work. Anybody know which word he ended up choosing? Go ahead and unmute out of the words. Serve, give, share, lead, and work. John Maxwell.
Lead. I mean, that's who he is.
Yeah, that's totally his word. He says, I chose lead. And he said that became the foundation for his purpose in life. And then he says, ask yourself 2 questions. What is my passion? Okay. And I'm just looking for that. And what are my strengths? Okay. What is my passion? And what is my strengths? So he decided that he would be a leader who adds value to people. That's kind of what he came up with. So because he wanted it to duplicate, he didn't want it to just about, leading people. He wanted them to turn around and duplicate, and then, it extends and extends. So he says, you have a few abilities that make you unique. What are they? Those are the ones that you want to find. You were created for a purpose and given abilities that will enable you to accomplish that. Okay, so commit yourself daily to improve in those areas. So again, silly example, but clearly that desire for me to drive like a massive big rig had something to do with a purpose. God knew I was going to marry a farmer. He knew that way ahead of me. So there's something desiring you, something that you're talented at. I see Luann is sewing. Clearly, that was a passion put inside of her. I can sew the basics. It's not a passion, okay? We don't have the same. We have crossovers, but there's things that you are really, really good at that are unique to you. So those are important, figuring those out. And then number 3, write your purpose statement. He said it's a written down reason for being and doing, and you kind of use that as a measuring stick. So I know we hear this all the time, and it's something we kind of know and probably don't do near as often as we should, to actually put something to paper, because it can feel cheesy, or I know it, I don't need to write it. But if John Maxwell's doing it, we should probably do it too. So he says, once you're clear about why you live on this earth, then whatever you do becomes a mean to accomplishing it. And you can start to, when you have decisions to make, it's a measuring stick, right? It helps you decide, is that a good use of my time right now or not? And it's not that one or the other is, I like this one better than that. It's just you only have so much time in a day, right? So does it honor what your purpose is really the question. So John's purpose, his statement is to add value to leaders who multiply value to others. It's short, it's impactful, it doesn't have to be super lengthy, full of jargon that we can't understand, just something short. And when you repeat yourself to that repeat that to yourself out loud all the time, that will just become a thing that resonates in your mind, and you will subconsciously start making decisions based around it. Right? There's probably things that you are instilling in your homes that have just become, this is part of who we are and who we're becoming. And you don't have to wake up and make an announcement in the kitchen every morning, right? But there's things that have just become part of you that naturally, right, are outflowing. And that's the same in your business. So when you have this mission statement, you tell yourself that every day, like John did, right? I want to add value to leaders, right? To multiply value to others. And so that becomes, so what would happen if every person network marketing had a book that would help them understand and do the essentials of this industry? I found it hilarious that he wrote that. All right, here it is, folks. It's small, it's short. Next time an ambassador asks you for something, Power of 5. It's by John Maxwell. He's respected, it's short, it's easy, they can read it quickly. I would definitely consider gifting this to people. It's what do we pay? $10? Not a lot. Okay, what a great little gift, because they're going to find purpose and significance in who they are. And he mentions network marketing and the importance of how that can help them fill their purpose. Perfect for ambassadors. Really, really great gift. I should buy some for a gift. Great idea. Okay, great idea. So let's walk through that, because, right, this is the book. So there's one more part though, okay, of the 4 steps here where he was talking about journey of significance, and that's to take action every day. So anyone watch the movie Pay It Forward? Yes, Paige has. Candace, yeah, Joelle. Okay, so he references that. He says, Mr. Simone challenged his class to think of an idea to change our world and put it into action. The thinking is not usually the problem, but it's the actual putting it to action. And so he said he realized that most people in their desire, flash word, desire to do something, they never bridge the space between the knowing and the doing. We see this all the time, and we don't want to be that, right? They go back to the Grand Canyon example. You desire, and I feel like everyone wakes up with fantastic intentions. However, those intentions, if we don't do, will not bridge the gap. So if he's saying he sees that a lot, it's a really, really common thing. So he says there's a single test to determine whether your mission life has been accomplished, and it's basically, are you still breathing? Okay. Nobody here has had their mission life accomplished because you're still awake and you hopped on Zoom with me this morning, right? So you're not done yet. And I'm working on a fear of flying that I've developed, which is so weird because I've been flying since I was like 3 from Europe. And just in the last couple of years, it freaks me out. And then I'm like, I can use this when I fly, because I know that there's things I haven't yet accomplished, which means that this plane is going to land just fine because he's not done with me yet, right? Nothing can stop the purpose and the plan that he has for us or change that timeline. We get up into our own heads and we totally derail ourselves by negative self-talk. We've all done it. We have all done it, and it's okay to just admit it right now and just like get it out there and tell someone on the Zoom, yep, I've done it. Feels good to just like confess, right? But we don't have to stay there. So he says, get busy, find your purpose and practice it every day. Here's a mic drop coming. Somebody is waiting for you to make a difference in their life right now. Someone went to bed last night, laying in bed, feeling total overwhelm and feeling so tired, emotionally and physically. They are begging for an answer. Guess who has it? Point at yourself. Come on, fingers up. You. Point at somebody. You. Okay, you have the answer. Someone is begging for you. What is holding us back? We have to figure that out. It's stopping your significance. There's something, it might be what somebody else thinks. It might be insecurity. Figure out what that is today so that you can run to the bookstore, get an audiobook, talk to a friend who you trust and say, okay, I recognize this. Now what? What do I do? How do I get past this? Because that's really where things are going to change, right? We have to grow and stretch in those areas where we recognize there's a problem, Houston. And when you do that, that's where you literally will be unstoppable. And that's where you're going to get stories on your teams of people saying, oh my goodness, I was laying in bed praying for an answer. And then Paige came along, or then Karen came along, and then Annette came along, right? Paige was praying for an answer, then Julie came along. You know, we could do this all day long on the screen. Now imagine if we had hundreds of people on Connect Zoom because you guys are all just impact and had significance. Isn't that incredible thought? Right? That no scarcity mindset here. There's so many people right now that are desperate. So you get to have that significance. Okay. So you want to take action. Okay, now you want to have significance. So you want to have the desire. You want to, I just got to go back. Sorry. You want to make a difference. You want to do something that makes a difference. And now you want to do it with people that make a difference, right? That also want to make a difference. Hello, network marketing. Where else do you find such a huge group of women and men? The men portion is growing very rapidly, especially over in Mexico. There are just as many men as women that want to make a difference. Where else outside network marketing do you find that? You might work in a business or an organization where you have a handful, but are you ever going to find where people are this passionate by volunteering to want to do this? We didn't get interviewed. We chose to be here. Okay, so that's like the best place ever. So he says, join a team. What we can do by ourselves is one thing, but what we can do together is like, and we've all seen that happen. We have all seen that happen. Paige, I think it's you who always says, right? Like one of us is only, what's your one liner? Basically, one, like on our own, we can only do so much, but together we're basically unstoppable. And that's the mindset we want to carry. That's why we do Zooms. It's not because I don't think you guys don't know where the next bookstore is, but there's something about doing it together. I know that you can read and pick up books, but honestly, I'm a way slower book reader when we don't have Connect Zoom because there's nothing to hold me accountable. There's nobody like there to share in like, yes, that's such a good point, right? Which is why I love when we have interaction on the Zooms because it does something to us. And so join a team. Mother Teresa kind of, same thing. We've heard this quote lots and lots. I can do things that you can't do and you can do things that I can't do, but together we can do really great things. So lots of wisdom there. Okay, you were part of a networking team. Yeah, Paige.
What I was going to say was, and this is related to what you're thinking, is somebody's got an idea, somebody else has an idea. 1 and 1 is 2 separately, but 1 and 1 together makes 3 or more. Because what they make them think of something else. And it really is, it grows exponentially when you have more people together, even just 2.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Because oftentimes when you hear of really great concepts that took flight, it was often exactly that. One had an idea, another had an idea, and then the concept actually wasn't this idea or that one. It was something that came out of a portion of both. Yeah, we see that even in the events we do, in everything that we do together, same thing. And I feel like that's really where the dynamite is, right? It's you come up with something brand new. And so there's real power in that. And then, I mean, gosh, think about significance in that because you're incorporating gifts and the purposes of multiple people at once. Well, that's just incredible. That's just incredible. So, okay, so join a team. We are part of a network marketing team. Few people, okay, here's another one to write down. Few people are successful unless, unless a lot of people want to be. Oh, snap. Few people are successful unless a lot of people want to be. What does that tell you? What's the read between the lines there? What you thinking, Kathy?
Well, to me, that kind of implies if you have to give value to people for them to want you to be successful. They're not going to care if you're successful if you're not adding to them, if you're not helping them in some way or another.
Yeah. Erin?
Yeah, normally like our personal passion isn't enough to carry something. We really have to inspire passion for them, for our passion to be successful. Like we need to plant passion in other people that they can become something. It's just, we normally, if it's just our personal passion, we're going to burn out.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it alone. Nobody can do it alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And so doesn't that then bring to light the significance of sharing the desire of why you're doing what you're doing? Because sharing the products is great. Like that's huge. But then there's an element of we also need to share that portion of the inside of us of this is how I got to this. This is why I chose this, right? Because then you're inviting people along to do the doing with you, right? Now, it doesn't have to be sharing income graphics and stuff. People will make decisions based on feelings. So I'll continually share through, right? Because there's always new people following. You don't know who's watching. This is why I got started. This was part of how I got to where I am today, right? And that's really important because people will connect in with you because you need both. You need people who want health and they will eventually see how amazing we are together and they will start following along. But then you have a total other camp of people who also they want to make a difference, and we have a vessel for them to be able to make that happen. And when you hear share the opportunity, that's actually that's the heart behind it. You have a vessel to fulfill their desire to be significant. And that's really, really important. So I love that. And it's volunteer, right? It's a volunteer army and nothing more. Okay, so he said it was within a team experience that I enjoyed some of my greatest wins, and he lists them there. Everything from, being challenged to write books to, opportunity in business to start his coaching section of his business and all these different things. And he said, all these happened to me because I was part of a team that wanted to make a difference, right? Does your team feel like there's a purpose behind it? Can they show up and feel excited that we're doing something together? We're difference makers, right? And that's something to go back to very frequently, because if there's not that sensation, they're going to be like, people show up to where they feel that they can help make a difference. And so as a leader of one ambassador or of 100 or more, that's really important. And I see the significance of that more and more and more every single day, of making sure that that's verbalized, making sure that that's put out there, because you might be thinking it, but what are we doing so that they know it, right? So I love what Jess is doing, right? Having that monthly where the team's giving to a monthly cause now, which is amazing, because how well you do in your business is determining how much Rockin Wellness is going to give forward to another organization. That's a huge purpose. That's significance. So there's many different parts of significance and ways that this can be done. But at the end of the day, do your people know what that significance is, why we're here? And so that might be something just to take into the week. And it doesn't have to be this like unveiling and anything huge, but just, in conversation, you can just, you just kind of can have these different conversations and let it come out in your speech. So anyways, he said, John says teams can simply do more than an individual. This we of course know. And there's 7 things that a team member needs from a coach. So if you're a leader, you all are, these would be very worthy to jot down or highlight in your book. So number 1 is a basic understanding of his or her job and its contribution to the team. Now, it was that second part that stood out to me. As an ambassador, the what we do is pretty straightforward, but the how they can contribute to the team, now that's a whole other conversation and something that often gets missed, right? And so for each one of us, that's something to pay attention to. Number 2 is a continuing understanding of what is expected from them. That's really good too, right? Letting people know, and it might just be like, hey, what do you think of? Or, hey, can you help me make a graphic? It doesn't have to be anything earth-shattering, but just little things. And we can continue to build on that. Number 3, the opportunity to participate in planning. The keyword was participate. Okay, in planning changes and to perform and keeping up with what the team is doing is really great. The opportunity to receive assistance when needed. And number 5, feedback to know how well he or she is doing. That's a really good one. Number 6, recognition, reward based on his or her performance. So remember, people will work harder for a praise than a raise 99% of the time. Okay, there's always going to be kind of the exception to the rule, but 99, probably 0.5% of the time, people will work harder for praise, okay, than a raise. And number 7, the right work in a climate which encourages self-development. And we totally have that. Right? We totally have that. Connect Zooms, that's exactly what we're doing, self-development. There's so much opportunity. Jess talks a lot about that too, right? Like what a great quality to have in a leader who's constantly working to helping us better ourselves, because when you better yourselves, you're in a healthier mindset and position to go out and offer significance to somebody else. So he says, it's true that 1 is too small a number to achieve greatness. Those who stay and succeed on your network marketing team know and live out this thought. Here's the thought. The best wins are when others win. The best wins are when others win. And it's true. The larger your team grows, the more excited you get when they have wins. And the wins don't even have to be big. It's like, I don't even care about my own points and ranks. It is way more fun to turn around and celebrate. And it just is. And you've probably experienced that. There's something in there and you can't really, I don't know, it's just a pulse you feel. You can't really put words to it. You can't put it onto paper. It's just a feeling. So he's totally right. He says nothing is better than working hard together and winning big together. Super, super true. Okay, and number 4 is timing. Okay, at a time when it makes a difference, be significant now. People who put off chasing it because they believe it requires title, position, money, experience, credibility, status, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he says that's simply not true. You don't need those things to get started today. Significance is about having desire. Okay, that's a good one to highlight. Significance is about desire. It's not about all the things you need to have checked off to be able to start. Okay, you have desire to add value to others that makes a positive difference in people's lives. If that's you, okay, if you desire to make a difference in someone's life, the time to start is right now. We do not need to wait on anything else. Okay, he says, all we have is right now. There will never be another now. Don't lose today looking for tomorrow. We are living in uncertain times, right? Like, honestly, let's just put that pink elephant right out in the room, okay? We're all feeling a little like, what is going on here? Okay, I know things like this have happened before, but doesn't that put even more importance on making today matter and today count? Because look at the difference that's happened in 6 months from now. We can't just be like, oh yeah, you know, I want it to this level, and as long as I somehow get here in the next year. We don't know what's going to happen in the next year. Do it today. Start today. Just do whatever you need to do. Okay, if we have, I'm actually going to back up here. I want to word this right. The moment you think your actions will have a positive outcome is the moment you take action. Okay, the moment you think your actions will have a positive outcome is the moment you'll start taking action. Do you see how we go straight back up to here? Straight back up to mindset. That's all that matters. If you have a negative anticipation, you are going to procrastinate. Who here has ever procrastinated? No, Julie, never you. Do you see what he's saying though? If you've ever procrastinated, you're having a negative anticipation. Ouch. Procrastination, negative anticipation. It means that you have convinced yourself that it's either not going to work out, people won't want to hear for you, what's the point anyways? Like, throw that record in the trash. But that's what's happening. And really, that's the only thing. So he said positive anticipation, though, is empowering. It gives you permission to move through the world with expectation. These are words I want you to carry forward. Positive anticipation equals expectation equals results. Okay, that's a really good equation. Positive anticipation equals expectation equals results. Okay. Being part of a network marketing organization is going to be win-win, okay? We know that we gain value from being a part of this through corporate, through our teams, through each other. It's win-win-win, okay? And what always happens is there's going to be relationship development, right? All the time in this. We work with people. So when these relationships become one-sided, they start to fall apart, okay, in life and in work. What happens is you develop like a resentment, right? So the one who feels like they're giving starts to resent the one who you feel like they're not doing enough or anything, right? Do you see how that becomes a one-sided? There's not a give and take. It starts to become very yucky. Number 2, there's going to be an abundance of opportunity to do significant acts because we work as a team. So providing, remember, you can't just wait though constantly for somebody to come to you and beg you to want to help, right? We are responsible for us. You're the boss of you. So if you're like, hey, I want to be significant, I'm going to move forward, I'm going to do it. I want you to go to your sponsor, your team, go into your chats and be like, okay, I want to help be significant. How can I help? What's an area that I can help in? Or maybe you're helping in the area and you want to shift. You're like, hey, I've really enjoyed this. I'd like to switch to helping in a different area. That's fantastic. It keeps you refreshed. But you need to be the one to say those things, right? Because our leaders can't always determine, like even Rosanna and I, we talk about her, I tell her, hey, this is what I need. And she's like, thank you. Because we can't possibly, it's hard enough to figure yourself out. It makes it really hard and exhausting to constantly have a pulse on where everyone is. Now we do, of course, want to have a pulse, but I'm just saying in things like this, if you can be like, hey, I'm ready. I want to be a part of this. Let me know where I can help, right? That goes a long way. And that's really, really good. Each person you add value to, okay, is going to, hang on, each person that you add value to will lead you to others. Okay, so as you grow, remember that next person you talk to, you do not know if they're going to be the first jewel on your team, the first gold, the first ruby, the first emerald. You have no idea, because you sign up a level 1, they might sign up a level 1 that ends up have a huge passion. So don't ever hold back from sharing or stepping out, because what if that person, we hear that all the time, but that what if is actually really, really true. We've seen it happen many, many times. Okay, so do for one what you wish you could do for many. So basically, to wrap this up, okay, we want to live by the power of 5 daily. Okay, and I'm over on page 92, just at the very end here. It's gonna make you feel empowered, and it's gonna empower others. So your personal growth, here's things we want to focus on: your personal growth, your mindset, and ability to lead yourself. Notice I'm not saying lead others. We have to lead ourselves first, and he talked about this, is going to help you make an impact through connecting with people, through leading, through working with others. We work in the people business. There's going to be hiccups and bumps and, muddy roads and stuff. There's also going to be like beautifully smooth, dry patches. That's just the business of people. It happens in our own home. So we have to expect it would happen with others as well. That's normal. Okay, but these are the key ingredients that allow you to add value to others. Okay, and that's the recipe for a significant life. So I wrote in big letters at the end of my book, if you guys can see this. Okay, you can begin making your life count and having significance today. Mic drop. Today. It can be small, it can be a word of encouragement, it can be anything. But today, don't be like, today we're doing errands, whatever, I'm going to buy my new washer, whatever, and then, right? And then be like, tomorrow I will. Back that up. Today is our word, okay? Something little, don't have to build Rome, just do something small, and then consistency is going to compound. It's like I'm still waiting for my 6-pack to show up from doing these workouts I've started. I'm not going to see them today, but also, and hopefully before summer, I'm going to wake up and be like, poof, there they are. It's going to be the same in your personal growth and in your business. All of a sudden, you're going to turn around and you're going to be like, oh man, the change I notice of who I used to be and who I am now and what my team culture was and what it is now. Every single day, just do something. Okay. Tell me your closing thoughts on this book. Just one-liners is totally fine. Did you like it? Is it going to change you? Is it going to impact you? Mindset matters, right?
Definitely take action today. I am a procrastinator.
Okay. Acknowledging is step 1, right? That when you're like, okay, here's my issue. Now you know what to do to move forward, right? So procrastination has to do with mindset and not having that expectant anticipation. Yeah, Erin?
I thought this was one of the best, just one of the best books we've done. It was so practical. So it wasn't like aloof and vague. It was practical. It was like, you went over that list that people need a leader. Hey, sweetheart. And so it just gave really, really practical, precise tips instead of being vague, like just add value. Okay, let's tell me what that looks like. So this book is one that I will probably give to people who want to work the business with me. All right, we'll start here if you want to start.
I think myself as well. Because it's small. It's a great little gift. Like, it's tiny. It's cute, right? It's a cute little gift. If I got this, I'd be like, okay, I can do this. But if someone hands me like an encyclopedia, like, okay, here's where you should start, I'd be like, I'm out. But this is cute. Put a little bow around it, put a little coffee gift card in it, right? What a great Christmas gift for the leaders on your team. Those that are already trying to work the business, what like that maybe weren't on Connect soon. Yeah, or just getting started. Awesome. Good. You guys can turn around and feel like you can use this in your business, because really that's, at the end of the day, that's what's important, right?
Heidi, when we first got this book and it came in, I kind of looked at it and I was like, wow, that's a really small book. Be curious to see where we go with this. I'm not lying. I really thought, oh my gosh, that's a tiny little book. That it's not only called The Power of Five, but it is a powerful book. It's really good. Really good.
Yeah.
I'm like overjoyed with what I've learned from it. So yeah. Definitely.
Kathy, I
Come in
remember
small
that.
packages, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Totally. Kathy, I remember that. I remember you messaging being like, it's really small. The print is really tiny. I hadn't got mine yet. I thought too, I'm like, oh, this is not going to take very long, but it's power packed. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
So good. Awesome. Julie, did you want to add something?
No, I was just going to say, yeah, power packed is a good way to describe it. Small and mighty, but it's life skills in there, right, too? So it's not just business skills.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so next week we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna go straight into the magic of thinking big. And so I don't have mine in front of me here, but just, yeah. Is there an introduction in there, Kathy? Introduction, chapter 1 should probably, I haven't looked to see. Remember, I'm a last minute reader so that I can retain well.
Let me look. I have mine here.
It has
Okay.
a preface to it, but it's not really a introduction, but there is a chapter 1. So yeah, it really kind of goes right into it. It has what this book will do for you. So you kind of need to, I mean, it's kind of an overview of every chapter too. So.
Okay, so if you guys can read, you know what, it's always a benefit to read a little bit past. So if you enjoy reading, like get into chapter 2 a little bit, because I find if you read forward, you do like a push and a pull, you do get more out of it because you see how it connects in with what's coming next. So for sure, end of chapter 1, depending on how long they are, we might get into chapter 2. So it'll be a benefit to just read it. If not, you're ahead. So we'll start that next week, same place, same time. And yeah, we're just going to continue on building those building blocks of mindset. It all comes down to mindset. So let's go into the rest of the weekend positively anticipating goodness, right? Anticipate favor, anticipate all things good. Whoever you talk to, you guys are going to find favor with them. And it's when you tell yourself that, your verbiage will change. You're going to hear yourself, you're going to be like, who am I? But it starts here. So anyways, okay, let's go do that. Thank you for joining me. And we'll be back here next Saturday morning. Okay, bye guys. Have a great weekend. See you.
Thank you.
Welcome.